I sat across from the agents, the sterile light of the FBI interrogation room burning down on me. Their voices cut through the silence. Who are you, really? In that moment, my mind rewound. Who am I? I'm the man who's traded peace for blood, the one who's made a living out of ending lives. Mission after mission, target after target. I've drowned myself in violence, and with every kill, I've pushed myself further away from the people who matter. Becca, my wife! Every night she waits at the table, dinner growing cold, her patience even colder. One evening, she reached for her phone, ready to type out the words that could change everything. We need to talk. But her thumb stopped. She couldn't bring herself to press send. That morning I tried to be present, really present. A day at home, just me and the people I'd been slowly losing without even realizing it. My kids barely looked back as they headed off to school, my wife moving through her routine like I wasn't even there. Becca reminded me that summer was close. I latched onto it, desperate to bridge the gap. We should do something as a family, I told her. Let's go somewhere. I'll make the plan. After today's assignment. The words sounded good, but beneath them was the same old lie. I was already giving myself to the job before I gave myself to them. I left home with promises on my lips and blood on my hands, waiting to happen. The job was supposed to be simple. Walk in, take the package, walk out. But nothing in my world is ever simple. By the time I got back, my boss, Barbara's voice was sharp with suspicion. Why did it take you so long? It was supposed to be a simple snatch and grab. I leaned back, my body still carrying the weight of the fight, and told him what happened. First, I had to clear out an elevator full of muscle. Then, once I had the keycard, I stepped out into a wall of gunfire. Another crew was already waiting. After the gunmen, a Brazilian gang with machetes came swinging like executioners out of hell. But I put them all down, one by one. My knuckles still ached from the steel they carried. Barbara only shrugged, like I'd just described a trip to the store. Now my 30 million debt just went down. 800 grand. That debt, my penance for burning the money of a Russian gangster, still chained me to this life. I'd been paying it off with every drop of blood I spilled. But the chain never seemed to get any lighter. I told him I needed a break. My voice almost convinced me. Barbara just smiled and said, "Good luck." In the middle of all that chaos, I caught a glimpse of something I hadn't thought about in years. An ad of Plummerville. An amusement park. Rides, slides, the kind of joy I'd forgotten even existed. Later, I sat my family down and pulled up the promo video. "This place has everything," I told them, forcing some excitement into my voice. "Even Grandpa will love it." But the second they heard Grandpa was coming, I watched the spark die in my kids' eyes. Still, I pressed on. This was the only place I ever went as a kid. My father took me there, and I want us to go together, just once. Something in my tone must have hit them, because for the first time in a long time, they agreed. We picked up my father, David, cigar in hand, stubborn as ever. He grumbled but killed the cigar before climbing in. Then for a brief moment, life felt simple. We drove, we sang, we were a family again. When we finally reached Plummerville, reality hit like it always does. The water park was closed. Instead, we were handed coupons for hot dogs. Standing at that hot dog stand, memories came flooding back. And Harry, my brother, we used to eat here. Same spot, same smell, only now the space belonged to someone else. The local sheriff. He caught my stare. "What are you looking at?" he asked. The tension crackled in the air, but I forced myself to turn away. I grabbed the hot dogs and sat down with my family. After the hot dogs, we drifted into the arcade. For a while, it felt normal. The sound of coins dropping, machines buzzing, laughter echoing. My son Brady lit up, winning a mountain of tickets. And instead of hoarding them, he handed the stack to a group of girls nearby. One of the girls' boyfriends stormed over. He demanded Brady apologize for doing nothing at all. And before I could step in, he snapped my daughter's prize right out of her hands and ripped it apart like it was nothing. The fight sparked before I could smother it. The manager rushed in shouting, trying to douse the flames. I put myself between them, telling Brady to breathe, telling Becca it wasn't worth it. She tugged at me, whispering that we should just leave. So we did, or at least we tried. The manager's hand came down, smacking the back of Sammy's head. In that instant, the world around me went silent. I should have listened to Becca, swallowed my pride, and kept moving. But I turned back, and in that moment I stopped pretending. One by one, I dismantled them. Every fool who thought I was just another dad with a short fuse. And when I finally put my hand across that manager's head, I made sure he felt the weight of every second he'd stolen from my family's peace. But truth never comes without consequence. The police came, took all of us in. My family, my wife, my kids were treated like suspects because of me. Brady leaned toward me and said, "What you did back there was awesome." I didn't see it that way. All I saw was the shadow of the man he might become. if he started walking the same road I did. Not long after, I found myself in the sheriff's office. Only it wasn't the sheriff waiting in that chair. It was Wyatt, the man who owned this town. And the boy from the arcade? His son. Brady had clipped his pitching arm shattered. I stayed calm, even as the walls closed in. One of those men smacked my daughter. I told him, "If you were in my place, what would you have done?" For a moment, the room was quiet, Wyatt weighing the truth in my words. And just like that, he let me walk. But the sheriff's eyes told a different story. He ordered his men to take me down. Back at the hotel, Becca lashed out, anger and fear tangled in her voice. "Why did you let your other side show? Your son is already becoming too aggressive. What's in your work bag, Hutch? What did you bring here?" She searched for danger, but all she found was a bottle of wine. The same bottle from the night we first met. The fight drained out of her. She stepped closer, her arms wrapping around me, and her voice softer now. The next morning, we tried again. Games, laughter, the illusion of peace. For a while, I almost believed it. My father, David, stayed behind at his old lodge, grumbling in his own way. But my instincts never rest. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught him. An officer, camera in hand, pretending to be invisible while he took pictures of us. Later on the duck boat ride, he came back. Only this time, he wasn't alone. I got my family onto a boat, smiling, telling them my stomach was acting up. But the truth was simpler. I needed them safe. I boarded a different boat, and the officer followed. The tourists poured in, headphones over their ears, blind to the storm about to hit them. When the boat pulled away from the dock, the officer leaned close and said, "We told you to leave." Then the blades came out. The thugs struck fast, but faster men have tried and failed. I fought them in silence. Their screams drowned out by the tourists' laughter through headphones. Then came the knife. A sharp flash and my finger is sliced clean, tumbling into the water where a fish swallowed it whole. They thought that was enough. They thought throwing me overboard would end it. But I don't die that easily. I climbed back, soaked, furious, and this time I didn't hold back. I unleashed every ounce of violence I had buried. One by one, I broke them until the officer's face shattered under my hands. After the chaos, I called Harry, my brother. I told him about Plummerville, about how the place felt rotten and dangerous. He laughed. "That's because it was never a vacation, Hutch. Dad brought us there for a mission. That place is an old trade route, and the cops there are all bought working hand in hand with the syndicate." Meanwhile, Wyatt, the man with his fingers on every vein in this town, was moving cargo with the sheriff. He thought he was nearly free, his father's debt almost paid. I reached out to Barber demanding answers. He didn't hesitate. "Plummerville belongs to Lendina," he said. "Cross her and you're already dead. That place is her empire. If you want to live, walk away before it swallows you whole." But even as Barber warned me, Wyatt was already on the line with Lendina. He thought he could finish his shipment and cut her loose. Lendina had other plans. To her, debts never end. She made it clear in a single order. "Bring me something he loves most." The sheriff thought he could break Wyatt by breaking his bloodline. He took Max, Wyatt's son, and planned to hand him over to Lendina. But before he could, I stepped out of the dark. I lit a flame, let the fire dance close to the gasoline. My voice was steady, deadly calm. "I'll burn everything down, right here, right now. And if her shipment goes up in smoke, Lendina will tear you apart herself. Leave my family out of this, and I'll walk away." For a moment, the sheriff stood firm, defiant. But he saw the truth in my eyes. He agreed. I turned to leave, but then I saw Max. The fear in his eyes and the silent plea for help. I forced myself into the car, told myself it wasn't my fight, but I couldn't do it. I turned back. The building erupted into violence the second I charged in. Gunfire, screams, chaos. I carved my way through them, protecting Max, breaking every man who stood in my way. Then fate decided to join the fight. A stray bullet tore into a lamp. Sparks rained down into the gasoline I'd spilled earlier. The fire caught fast. It spread like vengeance itself, crawling over crates stacked with explosives. And then hell opened. A blast ripped through the place, swallowing everything in a wall of fire and steel. When the smoke reached Lendina, so did the truth. Her shipment, her empire's blood was gone. And the man behind it? He wasn't some ghost. He was here, with his family. The sheriff called her to report it. His voice dripped with fear. "Bring every soldier you can." Back at David's old lodge, we tried to breathe. Max was alive, and even Brady, the son I was losing, found enough strength to offer him a handshake. But peace doesn't last in my life. Becca's eyes cut through me, sharp, wounded. "You promised me," she said. All I could give her was regret. I told her this isn't under my control, so she should take the kids and leave now. She then said, "You're my husband, the father of my children. Whatever happens, fix this." So I went to Wyatt, and the second he saw me, he attacked, rage blinding him. We fought, fists and fury, until I forced him to hear the truth. I hadn't destroyed his family, I'd saved it. His son was alive because of me. The anger drained from him, replaced by something darker. He told me the truth I wasn't ready to hear. Lendina wasn't just a rival. She wasn't just ruthless. She was the one who murdered his father. She ruled with no mercy, no hesitation. And now, she was coming for me. With an army. We had to prepare for what was coming. He showed me his stash of weapons, an arsenal hidden away just for a moment like this. Together, we went through the whole water park, section by section, clearing it out. Just as we were getting into it, there he was, Harry, my brother. He came to help, of course. I also noticed a wolf dog cage nearby. Seemed like a good time to even the odds. So I opened the cage and let the beautiful, chaotic thing loose. Then we began the meticulous work of setting the traps. We weren't holding back. Bombs, weapons, deadly surprises. We hid them in every corner, every ride, and every ticket booth of the amusement park. While we were doing that, Lendina's soldiers had already rolled into town. On their way, they spotted my father's old lodge. She ordered one of her men to make sure no one inside survived. Becca spots a dart gun. She handed it to my son, told him to be strong, and then she slipped away to join the mess that was about to unfold. The first person I actually saw confront me wasn't Lendina. It was the sheriff. He stood there, chest puffed out, declaring, "From now on, I'll be running this town, not Wyatt." He demanded that Wyatt and I hand over our guns and come with him. We both just looked at him and refused. The sheriff, thinking he was in charge, turned to walk away. That was his mistake. Lendina, without hesitation, ordered her men to gun him down. That was the signal. With a deep breath, Wyatt activated the traps we had set. It was pure chaos. I used everything at my disposal. The rides, the attractions, every piece of the amusement park itself became a weapon. Explosions ripped through the grounds, the echo of gunfire was deafening, and the battle for the town had finally begun. I rushed into the mirror room, that crazy labyrinth of glass where nothing was real and nothing was just a reflection. It was the perfect place to hide. The soldiers couldn't tell which way to shoot. I used the confusion to my advantage, quickly planting bombs before striking when they least expected it. Meanwhile, Wyatt was busy luring more of Lendina's men into the ball pit, a deceptively innocent trap where we'd hidden a slew of landmines. It was going well until a searing pain shot through him. He took a bullet to the leg. The remaining soldiers, thinking they had him, closed in to finish the job, only to trigger yet another deadly trap we'd rigged. I spun around and sent one soldier flying down a water slide to his death. The others were being brutally cut down by my father, David, who appeared out of nowhere, wielding a machine gun with terrifying precision. But the fight wasn't over. Near the lodge, a second wave of Lendina's soldiers arrived. My brother Harry didn't hesitate. He went straight for them, taking them on head-on. Soon, only Lendina's top fighter was left standing. He and Harry locked eyes and then clashed in a brutal one-on-one sword fight. Harry was incredible. He sliced straight through both the man's sword and his gun before finally finishing him off. Back at the lodge, the danger was still real. One soldier actually managed to sneak inside, but my son Brady was ready. "He took the man down!" Harry, seeing it happen, gave the kid a smile and a proud nod. "Your dad would be proud of you, Brady," he said, and he was right. I couldn't be prouder. And then, it all came down to the final moment. I was face to face with Lendina herself. She didn't even bother to fight me one-on-one. She sent two of her best fighters to overwhelm me. They were fast, brutal, and had me pinned. Lendina sneered, looking down as she said, "Now you will lose everything." She gave the order to finish me, but just before they could, shots rang out. It was Wyatt, firing from behind, dropping both of her fighters. Lendina didn't hesitate. She hurled a knife straight into Wyatt, and he went down hard. Then she turned her attention back to me, moving in for the kill. I was exhausted, bloody, and out of options. But before she could get a shot, a small thwip sound broke the air. Becca had arrived. She fired the dart gun she had, hitting Lendina right in the eye. Lendina dropped instantly. It was over. The war was over, but the chaos wasn't quite over. More of Lendina's soldiers swarmed in, pressing toward our position. That was the last straw for my father, David. With a determined look, he hit the detonator, setting off all the bombs we had planted earlier. The entire park erupted. Flames shot into the sky, explosions ripped the structures apart, and the air filled with smoke and debris. In a split second, Becca and I leaped into the pool, plunging into the cold water just as the wave of blasts washed over us. Below the surface, in the momentary quiet of the water, she pulled me close and kissed me.